Hey folks, welcome to FiddleHed Fiddle Lessons. Gonna do a lesson on how to play the classic tune Carol of the Bells as a fiddle tune. So I'm gonna play the whole thing for you, and you may notice that I've added some double stops, melodic variations, slides, and triplets. Here we go. So now that you get the basic idea, let's learn how to play it. So before we get into the tune, I want to point out that the original version by Mikola Leontovich, didn't know that until I did the lesson and looked it up on Wikipedia. Mikola Leontovich, I'm probably saying it wrong, but I'm trying. Anyway, that original version was arranged with a bit more repetition on these parts. And then there's other things going on. There's like a counterpoint vocal that's stepping down, and which makes that repetition more interesting. So on the FiddleHed page for this lesson, you'll find sheet music for the more traditional version of the melody, in case you want to play that in some other setting with some other people or something. Okay, what else do I have to tell you? Oh, before we start, also, as usual, I'll point out that you may want to warm up with a scale. And so in this case, we'll warm up with something called the E Aeolian scale. We'll use a E drone. And in case you don't know that scale, it's actually a mode of... There it is. I was just thinking, what's the parent key? So it's G major would be the parent key. D, 1, 2, 3, open A, 1, low, 2, 3, E. And if you don't, the theory part is intimidating. Don't worry, because you don't really need to know it to play the song, but playing that scale will actually help you quite a bit in getting the tune. All right, so I think that's about it. Let's get into it by starting with the A part, first quarter, with flow. Broken down. So you may have noticed the first bar is just repeated as the second bar, and that's D, 3, 2, 3, 1. All right. A thing you can add here is a slide into the D3. So that's for more advanced players. If you're a beginner, I strongly recommend you hold off on doing slides, because it might throw off your sense of tuning. You can do what you want, of course. I can't make you do anything, but that's my suggestion, is to wait on slides and in general on variations and embellishments. So I'm going to talk about other things in this tune, but I'm going to start with the basic version because I think that's important for anybody to get. Even if you're an advanced player, it's good to be able to hear the core melody of something, the essential thing that's there. Okay, so that's the first quarter. Now we'll do the second quarter. So before getting into the second quarter, I just want to point out that it's basically the same thing as the first quarter, but I added a teeny bit of variation, which I will explain in a bit. But listen for the similarity and listen to what's different. Here we go. With flow. Broken down, starting with the double stop D3 and G2. So again, the bar 3 is repeated as bar 4, and it starts with the double stop D3 and G2. you're a beginner, just play D3 for this part for sure, because that's actually a pretty hard double stop for beginners. All right, but if you're close to getting it, then just practice that double stop a lot. All right, and then following, we're gonna have a triplet. So even relative beginners can probably get this part: D, 2, 3, 2, 1. It's not too much harder. And I'm slurring those 4 notes, the triplet, 1, 2, 3. And it's D, 2, 3, 2, 1. So this whole third bar, again. Then we just repeat it for the 4th bar, okay? So that's the whole second quarter, moving right along to the 3rd quarter of the A part. So this is a different part, but notice how it's roughly the same melodic idea moved up the scale. Here we go, but with flow, the 3rd quarter. Broken down, starting A1. That's A1, open 1, D3, and then we repeat that again after that. So, okay, moving on to the 4th quarter of the A part, what I'm calling the A part. Broken down. Again. And then we'll repeat this as well. As we did in the first part, you could add a slide if you like. And with that double stop, A1 and D1. Oh, I didn't tell you about that. So A1 and D1. That's how it starts. So if we add the slide there, it sounds pretty cool and weird. If you do it slow, it sounds weird. If you do it faster, it sounds more transparent. So with slides, I want to get into like lessons on slides very soon, but the quick takeaway is you can make them subtle, you can make them obvious, and there's no right and wrong. It just depends on how you feel like expressing it in that moment. Okay, so there we have the entire, what I call the A part. Notice that the whole thing is 8 bars. I arranged it like a fiddle tune just because we're fiddlers and I thought it would be fun to present it that way. So now let's practice the entire A part with a play along track. 1, 2, 3. Cool. So if you found that little play along track useful, check out the full length play along track on fiddlehead.com for this. I also have a low fiddle mix so that when you play along you hear yourself more than the recorded fiddle. I also have snippets for each section of the tune, sheet music, color-coded tabs, and it's all free for 1 week after publication. And that's the way it is with all of these lessons. So finally, thanks for watching and for your support, and now we'll get into the B part. Alrighty, cool. So a new thing I'm doing is to actually pause before showing you the B part to just kind of talk about a quick like practice note on something. And I think it's appropriate for this tune to talk about alternating between a basic version and a variation version. So if you're at that point in your fiddle journey where you're starting to play around with adding variations, a really powerful practice is to take a small piece, play it very simply without any variation, and then to right after, without stopping, without missing a beat, play the variation, and then continue to loop in that way. And then that will help you to understand if that variation is working. Maybe you can tweak it a little bit, and it's just a good way to find your way with adding variation. So I'm going to actually, this tune is sort of has that built into it, and that's why I think it's worth mentioning. So let's just look at the first two quarters. The second quarter is just a variation on the first. So we could do this practice with it right now. We can go first quarter, and then the variation. Back to the first quarter. Variation. You could even do just one bar of each, like. So in that way, you can find out how the adding variation works. You can kind of get in and kind of go under the hood, you know, with these variation ideas. Maybe you'll want to simplify it somehow or change it. Maybe you start to tinker with it, maybe even naturally without even having to think. Your fingers might wind up doing it. So, but in any event, it's good, and especially if you're an advanced player, to know how to, like, doing this, you'll know how to simplify tunes when you read them down the line. When you find more advanced tunes with lots of embellishments, it's great to be able to strip it all away. I do that all the time when I'm learning tunes. I try to find the core melody, then do the suggested things, and then see what I like. Okay, so hopefully that's helpful. Now we'll get back to the lesson. All right, now let's learn the B part, starting with the first quarter. Broken down. So it's starting fourth on A. You could do open E if you're not comfortable with fourth on A. And that's ho down there. And if you are comfortable with the double stop, you can do fourth finger A and E. Here it is again. You could even slide into it a little for a really nice fiddle effect. Okay, and then the next bar is A 1, 1, 1, open D3. You can add a double stop on that first A1 with D1. Whole first quarter again. All right, you may want to loop it. Maybe as you're looping, you're like, oh, I really need to loop one part because I want to. You can keep changing your loop length. Whatever you need to practice. When I practice, I'm constantly doing smaller loops, bigger loops, whole thing, then cutting it way back and just doing one note. So, okay, let's move on. Second quarter of the B part. Broken down and simplified a bit. So we're going to start with A, 1, open. You can add a double stop if you like with D1 on that first note. So we have. Good. And then, which should sound familiar, it's from the A part. And you can add a G2 as well here. So we have. Okay, so that's the second quarter. Now we'll do the third quarter of the B part with flow. A little slower, more broken down. So I don't even know what scale this is. It's weird, but I'll just give you the finger names. It's G2, high 3, then D low 1. Let's just do those 3 notes. And that's slur 3. The next 3 notes will be up bow. It'll be D 1, 2, 3. That's relatively easy. So far we have. That's the first bar of this part, bar 13 in the score. That might be a good thing to just loop a little bit. As you do these loops, see, instead of thinking like, oh, I should loop it, see if you can just really enjoy how good it feels to play some of these little bits. Just get into it. Such a beautiful little part. You maybe could start a whole new tune from that. I don't know, it's just really pretty. Sorry if that makes it confusing. Then the next bar is just on A, open 1, open 3. Here's again. So this whole third quarter, slow. So pretty. I think this might be my favorite part of the tune. And I arranged kind of like a very kind of fiddly bowing that kind of makes it polyrhythmic in a way. Da 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 da. Alright, so that's the third quarter, the B part. The fourth quarter is exactly the same. So now you have the entire B part. I'll play it for you very slowly. And then you could end by just doing the first bit of the A part, maybe the first half, and just slowing it down. Something like that. See, you could tinker with it and do it as you like. Cool, if you found this lesson to be fun or useful, please like the video, follow or subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you can hear about upcoming lessons. So one more thing I wanted to say before signing off is that if you'd like further things to practice related to this tune, I suggest a couple of Irish tunes actually that would go well with it. One would be Swallowtail Jig, or Rights of Man. I just did little snippets of each, but you can kind of hear how they're very similar. They might even be too similar. If you decide to experiment with it, drop me a line, a comment, or something, and just say, hey, I did it and it was kind of cool. It was kind of weird. I didn't like it. Whatever, you know, let me know. And thanks for watching. I truly hope that you have a happy whatever-miss, whatever you happen to be doing, whoever you're with, and may it be good. Thank you for watching. Go to FiddleHed.com for a progressive, step-by-step course outline, color-coded tabs, play-along tracks, sheet music, and much more. Thanks for watching the video. Excellent! And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.